Welcome, Algebra Half, to Lesson 48, fractional part of a number, and plugging that into what's called fractional equations. This is really important stuff, stuff that we'll encounter over and over again, finding the fractional part of a number in a problem like 5/7 of what number is 5/2, or 5 seconds. Recall what a fraction is. It's a part of a whole. If this was 1, then each of these would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1/5 of the 1. Remember the denominator, 5 tells me how many pieces in all. 1 tells me to how many pieces I refer. 1/5, this would be 2/5, 3/5, if you follow. Now if this was worth more than 1, this whole block, let's say it's worth 150, whole thing, 150. Then each of these would be worth more, obviously. Really, each one would be worth 1/5 times 150 because we've just maximized this whole piece from 1 to 150, so we'll maximize each individual piece from 1 to 150, only they were 1/5. So this is now not 1/5, but it's 150 times the original size, so it's 1/5 times 150. And that comes out to, on your calculator, 150 divided by 5 is 30. So this is a 30, this is a 30, right? Each is worth a 30. And this is helpful for referring to, okay, then what's 2/5 of 150? Well, it's 30 plus 30 is 60. What's 3/5? 90. Okay? If we're asked 5/7 of what number is 5/2, we can try to draw this out. I suppose if we had to do this the 7/6 math way, 5/7 of what number is 5 seconds? So it's asking what number, if I took 5/7, I don't even know, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7 total pieces is going to be 5/2. It's saying, what is this number if this number is 5/2? And you're starting to see, you start dealing with numbers like this whole picture technique ain't so simple. When we don't get gimmies like 150 divided in a perfect 5 ways to be 30 apiece like they did in 7/6 math, it's not so easy anymore. I don't know that I can solve this so easily. So instead, there's a very simple equation. Algebra is your friend. The sooner you learn that, the better your life is. It's here to make something like that much easier. A more realistic problem too, because perfect numbers just don't exist in the world the way they do in math books. So f times of equals is an equation that's going to help us out as we translate symbols into words and words into symbols with our math speak. 5/7 of what number is 5/2? 5/7, turn it into a number. 5/7 is 5/7. I think you could do that in your own abilities before this lesson. Now, of. Have we learned what of means? Of means times in the math world. So let's use this so we don't get confused with x's. Times what number? And when they put times of, they mean it's the of number. It's the of blank. I think that's confusing sometimes, so I kind of like f times a equals b. If this is my a and this is my b. So plug it into the equation is what we're really trying to say. You've either got this one or this one, but you'll use it when you see these fractional part of a number equations. 5/7 of what number is 5/2? 5/7 of what number? We don't know. So it's, well, let's be consistent. That's my A. Is another word that has a translation in math speak. Is always equals. equals 5 over 2, we know. Just going to kind of write over it. It's kind of messy. So f times a equals b. 5a over 7 equals 5 over 2. You see how I just turned this into this? Because this is really a over 1, so I multiply tops and bottoms. 5a over 7 is 5 over 2. Now we want to try to get a by itself. So multiply both sides by 7 over 1, the way we've been learning. That's why we've been drilling it. Nothing to cancel here except right here. So 5a is the same as 35 over 2. And if that's true, then a, you can see an issue here, huh? Well, we could multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that. Just looking at the way the book does this, 5/7 a, instead of doing it this way, they actually go 5/7 a equals 5 over 2. And they don't put 5a over 7 and start multiplying by 7 over 1. Let's just multiply by the reciprocal 7 over 5. 7 over 5 and get this all done at once. If you start going down this way, you'll get it right, but this looks messier. Let's try this. Now we can do all that at once so that a is automatically by itself. This cancels out nicely, so now it's just 7 over 2. And that was example 48.2 on page 158. If we knew 5/7 of 5 over 2 is what number, so I'll write that again, take a lot of this away. Here, I'll type it out. 5/7 of 5 over 2 is what number? See how it's same numbers, different spots in the equation now? So we follow f times a equals b, and we plug in what we know. 5/7 is my f, of 5 over 2 now, I know my a. 5 over 2 is my a, and b is the number I don't know. This one's even easier, I think. 5 times 5 is 25 over 14 equals b. It's that simple. Why don't you do all the practice problems, A, B, and C, because they are just so important. And write this, please, into your notebook. And if you want to get ahead, you can write this into your notebook, too, next to that, lesson 48. This is decimals, and it's going to be the same thing. Decimals are part of a whole, too.